Hey guys, good morning. In this video, I want to do a quick recap of the IMAX Q1 2025 earnings and go over with you why I have a $32 price target on IMAX sometime between the end of 2025 and end of 2026, which would be about a 33% gain from the current price. Previously, I had entered and exited a trade on IMAX going in June of 2024 at $15.20. Exiting in November at $24.64, slightly above today's current price. Here just a couple weeks ago, there was a great entry opportunity for IMAX as it hit down in that demand zone in green around April 11th. You could have got in at $20.48. But I still think, knowing what we know about the box office for the rest of this year and into next year and IMAX's growth plans that they talked about, there is still, for those of you that are following or trading the cinema industry, a lot of reasons to be bullish about IMAX stock over the next 12 to 18 months. And now for those of you who did not listen into the earnings call, let's do just a couple minute recap of the results from Q1 and what guidance management gave for the rest of this year. Looking at my red, yellow, green template, which gives you guys some high-level things I look at in determining the risk of investing in a stock, IMAX is a beautiful setup. Everything is green except for the short interest. I'd like to see it below 10%. And the company doesn't pay dividends, but we're not going to ding them for that. In terms of all of the ratios that we look at when we do proper analysis of risk, solvency, liquidity, efficiency, profitability, and the valuation, IMAX is green. And then once you know that everything looks green, it's relatively safe, then you hone in on what is a good entry price. Getting into the specifics about IMAX's Q1 2025 revenue and earnings, it did beat surprising analysts thanks to the movie Ni Za 2. That movie now surpassing over $2 billion in gross receipts. And with IMAX's large footprint in China, that did very well for IMAX in the first quarter of 2025. Total revenue for IMAX came in at $86.7 million, a 10% year-over-year growth from the same quarter a year ago. Net income, $8.2 million, up 52% from a year ago. Total adjusted EBITDA, $37 million, and the adjusted earnings per share, 13 cents versus analysts' expectations of 11 cents for Q1. Just a reminder, IMAX is not like your typical cinema exhibitor company like a AMC or a Cinemark. They derive their income from multiple buckets, content solutions being 35% of revenue. That is film remastering and distribution and other content solutions. 61% coming from technology products and services, which includes system sales to theater exhibitors like AMC or Cinemark, and system rentals, maintenance, and finance income from those sales. Because IMAX is leasing out both its cameras to movie producers and its technology and equipment to cinema exhibitors, it is a partially asset-light type of investment in the cinema industry. They have less operational risk and less CapEx. On top of that, they earn revenue sharing from the cinema exhibitors for every movie that is shown in IMAX in theaters worldwide. In terms of guidance that IMAX has given both investors and analysts for 2025, everything is looking really, really good. You can see here on the top line, $1.2 billion plus in expected IMAX box office, installations between 145 and 160, and total adjusted EBITDA margin at 40% plus, all healthy increases over both 2024 and 2023. There is a very healthy and full slate of excellent IMAX movies scheduled for the entirety of 2025, getting really strong here at the end of 2025 with Wicked and Avatar Fire and Ash, and 2026 is looking very bullish as well for IMAX. Operating cash flow is strong there in the top left corner quadrant. And if we look at the cash and liquidity position in the bottom left and the debt maturity up in the upper right, we see that the company has $97 million in cash, but they have $231 million in debt coming due in 2026. And that is April 1st, 2026. Now, considering that all systems are go with IMAX and that it is hitting on all 8 cylinders, if they decide to refinance or push some of this debt out, then I don't think that they're going to have any problem doing that at very reasonable terms. Are they going to be able to pay off $231 million in the next 12 months? I don't know. I mean, they only have $97 million in cash, so I'm not expecting that they're going to try and pay it all off in the next 12 months. But whatever they decide to do, they are set up to implement any number of strategies with minimal disruption to their business or liquidity. When we think about that beautiful slate of IMAX films in both 2025 and 2026, when we look at their signings of new installations and the backlog they have of people waiting to get IMAX installed globally and that global footprint, which nobody else really has, it is no wonder that analysts are bullish on IMAX over the next 1 to 3 years. After IMAX's recent earnings call, we got 4 analysts issuing price targets for IMAX ranging between $30 and $35. The average of those analyst price targets coming in at $29.64. IMAX is rated a strong buy by the totality of the analysts covering the stock. If you want to be able to create a price target like the pros, there is, I get it, a lot of misinformation out there on social media. People want you to look at book value and say it should be 10x book value, or they want you to look at price to sales ratios. I'm going to tell you, if you want to do it like a pro, keep it simple. Earnings per share. What is the one thing that every analyst starts out looking at? Earnings per share and PE ratios. And we can forecast based on IMAX's guidance to investors and analysts about box office and their earnings, an annual earnings target for the next several years. And we know what the PE ratio standards are for this industry. Therefore, we can create price targets. Now, I think that IMAX is going to do better in 2025 than some of these analysts in terms of revenue and earnings per share. So although analysts have a price target of just under $30 for IMAX over the next 12 months, I'm going to say that by early 2026, late 2025, it would not surprise me to see IMAX hitting $32 based on a multiple of my expected earnings for their 12-month forecast. Things are only going to get better for the movie industry the remainder of this year, with maybe a little bit of slowdown in Q3. We are right now in the very middle price-wise between the supply zone and the demand zone. I don't know if there will be any more opportunities in 2025 to buy IMAX down around $21, $20. So you'll have to make your own choice about what type of risk you're willing to take. But I think it is a relatively safe bet unless the entire global economy collapses, that IMAX is going to see $30 to $32 in the next 12 months, and then obviously go higher from there as box office continues to grow, according to everybody's expectation. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about IMAX. Are you playing any other tickers in this cinema industry? Don't forget, we have live streams coming up where we're going to be covering the Cinemark, Marcus Theaters, and AMC earnings calls. And if you missed the update I did recently on Dolby, that is another one of my favorites. Be sure and check that one out. A very similar play to IMAX, where we're leveraging companies that are licensing technology instead of having to pay rent on theater space. Thank you guys for watching. I am Tony Denaro, and I will see you on the next video.